Good morning, class. We, the members of Group 3, will be presenting on vitamin B3, also known as niacin. Our group members are Rosalie Sinarine, Daniel Sumera, Hemati Hari Prasad, and myself, Sarah D. So we'll take the presentation in five different parts. What is vitamin B3? The importance of vitamin B3, sources of vitamin B3, deficiencies, and how much do we need in our daily diet. So, what is niacin? Niacin is known as vitamin B3, and it is one of the water soluble vitamin, and it's observed in what we need, and it is usually excreted in the excess in our urine. Due to the fact that they cannot be stored, the body needs a continuous supply through a steady daily intake. And water soluble vitamins, they are found in fruits, vegetable, grains. Unlike the fat soluble vitamin, they can be destroyed by heat or being exposed to air. So they can also be lost in water used for cooking. This means that by cooking the food, especially by boiling them, we lose many of these vitamin B3. And niacin is a generic name for niotonic acid, niacinamide, and relative derivatives such as the niacinamide riboside. So niacinamide is the active form which functions as a constitute of two coenzymes, namely the niacinamide adenine dinucleotide NAD and also NADP in the form of these coenzymes. Niacin function in many biological redox reaction which activate about 200 dehydrogenases essential to electron transport and other cellular respiratory action. And NAD functions as an electron carrier for intracellular respiration as well as a cofactor for enzyme involved in the oxidation or the catabolism of fats, protein, carbohydrates, alcohol, and to produce energy in our body. Thank you. I'll hand you over to the next person.
Importance of vitamin B3. The main importance of vitamin B3 in our diet are: number one, it improves blood fat levels. Niacin may help to improve your blood fat levels by increasing your high density lipoprotein, which is your good cholesterol, reducing your low density lipoprotein, which is your bad cholesterol, and reducing your triglyceride levels. This may translate to a decrease in heart disease risk, although several studies have found no link between niacin supplementation and a decrease in heart disease risk or deaths. It also takes high doses of niacin, typically 1500 mg or greater, to achieve blood fat level improvements, which increases the risk of experiencing unpleasant or potentially harmful side effects. For these reasons, niacin is not a primary treatment for high cholesterol. It's primarily used to help improve blood fat levels in people who cannot tolerate statin drugs. Number two, may reduce blood pressure. One role of niacin is to release prostaglandins, or chemicals that help your blood vessels widen, thus improving blood flow and reducing blood pressure. For this reason, niacin may play a role in the prevention or treatment of high blood pressure. In one observational study of over 12,000 adults, researchers found that each 1 mg increase in daily niacin intake was associated with a 2% decrease in high blood pressure risk, with the lowest overall high blood pressure risk seen at a daily niacin intake of 14.3 to 16.7 mg per day. A high-quality study also noted that single doses of 100 mg and 500 mg of niacin slightly reduced right ventricular systolic pressure. However, more research is needed to confirm these effects. Number 3. May help treat type 1 diabetes. Type 1 diabetes is an autoimmune disease in which your body attacks and destroys insulin-creating cells in your pancreas. Niacin could help to protect those cells and possibly even lower the risk of type 1 diabetes in children who have a higher chance of developing this condition. However, for people with type 2 diabetes, the role of niacin is more complicated. On one hand, It can help lower the high cholesterol levels that are often seen in people with type 2 diabetes. On the other, it has the potential to increase blood sugar levels. As a result, people with diabetes who take niacin to treat high cholesterol also need to monitor their blood sugar carefully. Fortunately, a more recent review of studies found that niacin did not have significant negative effects on blood sugar management in people with type 2 diabetes. Number 4, boosts brain function. The brain needs niacin, which is a part of the coenzymes nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide and nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide phosphate, to get energy and function properly. In fact, brain fog and even psychiatric symptoms are associated with niacin deficiency. Some types of schizophrenia can be treated with niacin as it helps undo damage to brain cells that's caused by a niacin deficiency. Preliminary research shows that it could also help keep the brain healthy in cases of Alzheimer's disease. However, these results are mixed. And the last one, number 5, it helps to improve skin health. Niacin can also be used to help keep skin healthy. It takes preventative action against future cell damage by boosting hydration in the skin and a cell's ability to retain water. It may also help prevent certain types of skin cancer as well, as studies found that participants who took niacin twice a day had reduced rates of non-melanoma skin cancer compared to the control group. Niacin can also be applied topically, helping to protect skin cells from sun damage. I'll now hand you over to my next group member.
The sources of vitamin B3. Some of the sources of vitamin B3 are red meat, which is beef, liver, pork, and beef. The lean cuts of pork are tenderloin, provide roughly 40% of the RDA per 3 ounces serving. And the ground beef, which is a good source of niacin. The leaner varieties of ground beef contain 1/3 more niacin than the fattier ones. Chicken, especially the chicken breast, is an excellent source of lean protein and niacin, containing 71% and 81% of RDA for men and women respectively, when compared to chicken thighs, which roughly provide half of that amount. Another source, which is fish, the wild-caught salmon is a great source of niacin, which provide over half of the RDA for men and women. Tuna is another fish, which is a good source of niacin. It provides a great option for people who eat fish but not meat. The deficiency. Niacin deficiency is rare since it's well observed from most foods. Some foods, such as cereal grains, have niacin bonded to its fiber, which therefore decrease the absorption. A severe niacin deficiency leads to a condition which causes a dark or sometimes scaly rash to develop skin areas exposed to sunlight. That is a bright redness on the tongue, and constipation or diarrhea is also another condition. Some other signs of severe niacin deficiency include depression, headache, fatigue, memory loss, and hallucination. Some groups at risk for deficiency, that is the limited diets, people whose diets are limited in both variety and quantities of food, such as people living in poverty or people who are very ill and cannot eat a balanced diet. Developed countries that eat corn and maize as a main food source are at risk of pellagra, such as these foods are low in both observable niacin and tryptophan. Another group which is at risk for this deficiency is chronic alcoholism and carcinoid syndrome. I'll now hand you over to the next person.
So I'll take you through how much vitamin B3 we need in our daily diet. So next slide. So the recommended dietary allowance, the RDA, for niacin depends on the age of the person and the gender. For ages 7 months and older, it is expressed as milligrams niacin equivalents, NE, and 1 NE is equal to 1 milligrams of niacin or 60 milligrams of tryptophan. For infants 0 to 6 months of age, they need 2 milligrams per day. 7 months to 12 months need 12 milligrams NE per day. Their children ages 1 to 3, they consume 6 milligrams daily. Ages 4 to 8 consume 8 milligrams daily, and children 9 to 13 years of age consume 12 milligrams NE per day. Adolescents and adults, so men ages 14 years and older, consume 16 milligrams per day. Women ages 14 years and older consume 2 milligrams less, which is 40 milligrams per day. Pregnant women, they consume 18 milligrams per day. And breastfeeding women, they consume 17 milligrams per day. So overall, this is a general consumption amount for each individual for vitamin B3 or niacin. So in conclusion to what we've learned, niacin is one of the 8 water-soluble B vitamins. This vitamin is very important as every part of our body needs it to function properly. It works in the body as a part of the coenzyme NAD and NADP. It is important in our diet because it helps to improve body fat level, may reduce blood pressure, may help to treat type 1 diabetes and boost the brain function and improve your skin health. Niacin can be found in the food sources such as red meat, chicken, and fish, all of which we can find right here in Guyana. A severe deficiency leads to pellagra, bright redness of the tongue, and constipation and diarrhea. So the RDA for niacin vitamin B3 is different for infants, children, and adolescents. The next slide will have all the references. If there's any question, you could always ask. Thank you for listening.